Councillor Liu, I'm the councillor of Ward 3 Richmond Hill. I'm your councillor, and tonight I would like to. The purpose of tonight's meeting is I received a lot of questions, concerns from my residents about the coronavirus, and because I have to be honest with you, a lot of the questions is not the City of Richmond Hill's jurisdiction. So tonight I'm very happy that we have the Mayor of Richmond Hill, Dave Barrow, is here. Thank you for joining us, Mayor. And we have MPP. 我们的省议员，我的市长 Dave Barrow， 还有我们的省议员MPP for Richmond Hill, Ms. Stacey Wayne. And also we have from the school board, we have two representatives. We have our Ward 3 representative, Cindy Liang. And also the trustee board chair, we have Juanita here. Thank you for joining us. So without further ado, I would like to pass the mic to our guests. They will all speak first, a brief introduction, and then they will answer any questions you have. Okay.
这个约克区，所以呢，这个教育医疗也是这个约克区管的不是我们市政府管的。所以市长呢今天说他这个约克区的health department 这个医疗的卫生处，这是今天早上11点的时候，举办了一个记者会。就是在电视也有直播，他们也解释了我们在约克区呢到现在还没有一个就是 confirmed case， 所以呢我们不需要担心他们正在留意，如果有什么不妥的话，他们会把他们有这个 system， 就是一级一级的去。现在我们就是low risk， 就是低风险，所以就是。基本上呢，这个市长就是我今天，所以我把这个省政府啦，我把这个教育局呢也请来等他们可以答你们的问题，好不好
Your friends here. Yeah, even though we don't have a lot of people showing up tonight, but I guarantee you a lot of them are at home.
Doesn't matter. Okay. My name is Wei Hua. I think quite a few of you know me from my presentations at the various locations. Thank you, Councillor Liu and Dave Barrow and MPP Daisy and Trustee Cindy for organizing this event. I think on behalf of the residents, we in general in agreement with everything you said, and we feel very fortunate that in Ontario, in the GTA, we said in York region, we basically had no cases as we are aware of. Even though I heard about a story about somebody from Richmond Hill came back, and we're not really sure about the details, but obviously nothing really to be overly concerned. In general, things that seem to be working out as so far, touch wood, it's been very low risk, right? So I think the question we are asking all about how can we maintain it at low risk, right? And also, I do want to share with a story that happened to a friend of mine, who actually, many of you know, I'm an accountant, and just before Chinese New Year, I had a tax seminar jointly with this particular lady, who had the seminar with me. She presented a portion of the seminar on a Saturday afternoon. The very next day, she's going back to China for the Chinese New Year. Now she came back 3 days ago. The first thing I saw her post on WeChat is that I'm back now in Canada. I did not go to Hubei province, even though I'm self-quarantined myself for 14 days without obviously tele working and everything. So a lot of questions here we'll be asking is really looking for things. Some of the questions are really for awareness, or probably we want getting some understanding how they can work. But also is looking for help from, for example, the city of Richmond Hill, from the province, is for those who are actually currently undergoing self-quarantine or self-isolation, what the city can do or the province can do to help for those who are trying to do their best not to spread things, even though there was probably no spread or risk, but they really just don't want to even take a chance. And a lot of volunteers are there working on to help them, and what the city and the province, the region can do to help them as part of this process they do everybody doing their part to help the situation here to remain at a low risk. And we all hope it is really the case. You know, we have kids all year. We all have kids in school, and we want people to be continue to be in this situation. So that's kind of a more of a preamble to what I think just to respond to the comments we heard. I think we're all on the same page, but we want to how can we do better? That's really where we are. So here I'm basically asking two questions, as you have the handout on the section A. It's being allocated to me with the pleasure to ask. According to Health Canada website, the health and the safety of all Canadians, both those that are traveling from the affected area of China and those in Canada, is our top priority. The Public Health Agency of Canada is working with provinces, territories, and international partners, including the WHO, to actively monitor the situation. So the questions from the residents are, what measures have been put in place at the Canadian airports to detect new coronavirus symptoms in the carriers? And how do Health Canada and Canada Border Service Agency jointly and effectively inspect, track, and monitor the passengers who have been to China and have the suspected symptoms when entering Canada? And is there a registry that maintains such information of the incoming travelers and or the suspected symptoms? Carriers must self-report voluntarily of their progress. So that's the first question. I don't know, you come from that.
Okay. Ian, can you try to take that one?
This is something I've already answered earlier, that all the checking was done even before they board onto the plane. So everything is already checked, which is why when we say that we don't see a lot of or measures checking them as they get off the plane, it is because everything was done prior. It has been done very seriously, so don't be worried. And I also want to respond to, you say how can we do the preparation, and actually we have been, in actual fact I have seen it from the city of Richmond Hill. I got it from the city of Richmond Hill. I got it from the city of Richmond Hill that there are just a few things that we can easily do to make sure that we protect ourselves right here. Make sure we wash our hands. And I was told when you wash your hands, make sure you sing the happy birthday song. In other words, you wash it thoroughly. And I was also given some little tips by somebody that don't just use soap. It's really better to use those liquid soap, because soap, it can be, somebody used it before, and then it might still pass that germs on. But if you use liquid soap, it is better. So have liquid soap, and also have those sanitizer. Make sure we have that. And if we sneeze or cough, make sure you do it on the sleeve. And we already mentioned, that we encourage the people to stay home if they come back from China, not necessarily just from Wuhan. And if they have their self-quarantine, everything will be very safe. And when they say self-quarantine, we have to see that if the children or the wife had not gone to China, so it's only him stay inside one room. Otherwise, they spread it all over to the family members. So those are the things that we have to continue to educate. But it's not going to be too long. It's only 14 days. And you're right, we will have to help these people and encourage these people. I will pass the message on that we should educate the people to stay home. And we should also ask their employer to understand and give them this leeway. A lot of them are concerned that they have already taken a few times off to go to China. Now that they come back, they have to go to work. So we will, the province may do something to encourage the employer to give them the leeway. And I think this community is doing a very, very good job. And as I read some of the information here, community of friends help each other by doing grocery shopping for them, cook for them, do some of the things for them that they cannot do because they are quarantined. So this is something that we can all do to help. Other than that, is business as usual, and I think that is just as important.
So I think it never will be overly too careful. So I thank you, lady, for raising it, to even take the anger from them. My next question is around. It's also a statement come from the Health Canada website saying that travelers coming from Hubei province to Canada continue to be at increased risk for 2019 and COVID. If someone has traveled to Hubei province in the past 14 days, they're asked to limit their contact with others for a total of 14 days from the date they left Hubei. This means self-isolate and stay at home. So language use is not really very forceful. They are asked. So what if I don't listen to you? So I don't feel it's a very forceful language here. And some question from the residents. I will add on a couple more questions from myself as part of it. It says evacuees from Wuhan have been double-checked by the Chinese medical staff and by the Canadian medical staff before boarding the airplane. And after arriving in Canada, they are going through mandatory 14-day quarantine. And however, travelers from the same, I think this is more talking about is the evacuation. We just airlifted the two airplanes. But however, travelers from the same region enter into Canada by the normal civil airlines, and they're only being recommended or asked to voluntarily self-quarantine. And why does the government treat these two different groups of people came from the same area, with the same situation, with the same risk, but with different health measures and standards? And they're not really to be very, very forceful. I know that the answer probably not come from anybody sitting here. And my add-on question is, what about the travelers from other parts of China? Should they receive some level of attention as well? And I do want to share with you, when we finish, is the guidelines from the U.S. CDC, which I think is a far thorough in the area, specifically talking about those absolutely for those from Hubei province. And if you have fever, cough, and travel breathing concerns, CDC staff at the airport will evaluate your illness. You'll be taken to a medical facility for further evaluation and care. You will not be able to complete your travel itinerary. If you do not have any symptoms, cough, fever, or trouble breathing, you will be placed under a federal, state, or local quarantine order for a 14 period from the time you left China. You may not be able to complete your journey itinerary under the 14-day period as elapsed. So it's far more forceful in terms of ensuring quarantine for people who came from Hubei province and that area compared to Canada. It's fairly, you are asked to. Okay, and then they also from the CDC is the travelers from other parts of China outside of Hubei province in the last 14 days. And obviously, if you have fever, CDC staff will do the same thing, put you under a medical facility, and you're not going to be able to go anywhere. If you do not have symptoms and not from Hubei, in that case, you're allowed to reach your final destination. However, after arrival at your final destination, you will be asked to monitor your health for a period of 14 days from the time you left China. You will receive a health information card that tells you what symptoms to look for and what to do if you develop symptoms. And during that period of time, you should stay home and limit interactions with others as much as possible. Your state or local health department will contact you for further follow-up. So they are more scripted, definitely more forceful. Even have no symptoms, they didn't use as forceful language. Say you should stay home. So something I think for Health Canada to consider. After all, U.S. has far more resources, and Canada typically do things in locksteps with U.S. And some message we would like to the officials here to pass out to the higher level of government as to look at how we actually make it a bit more forceful. Thank you.
Can I just do
Sure.
And I just want to reassure that is a federal jurisdiction. We had already passed it along and they know it. What they're doing is they keep on closely monitoring it, and if there is anything that they have to do, anything change, they will. That's all they say. But at this point, it's not. We from the province side, we cannot change because that is the federal jurisdiction with immigration, with passing that of the border. But we understand. I guess they really feel confident with what they are facing.
My name is Andrew Lee. First of all, I want to thank Council for hosting the meeting. And also, I thank for all the guests, all the officials who participate. My question, I have two questions. One is for Mayor and the other is for Honorable Mrs. Wei. For Mayor is, because of the large Chinese community in Richmond Hill, so the city have any additional measurement to put in place to calm the residents? Okay, you don't need to be fair or this kind of thing. Because province-wise, maybe Chinese community maybe is still the percentage very low, but in Richmond Hill it's kind of a little bit higher than the average in province. So the city has any measurement for send a message to all the residents, all the households, or this kind of thing?
It's thank you, because you're right. I think that is what needs to happen. And I know, excuse me, and there is an organization now to invite people to come back into the community, come back to restaurants and where they would normally go in their community with their family. And so there's a number of people that are trying to entice people by having say some prizes and things like that if you attend you can have a chance to win a prize or win or whatever it may be. So there's a lot of organizations trying to go to the business, and this is one of the problems, going to the business owners, asking them if they could contribute something to make this worthwhile. However, they've already spent the last 2 weeks not having any business. So it becomes a difficult thing to do, but I think we can make it happen. And Daisy and I were talking about that this morning, to see if there's something that we can make it comfortable for people to come out again and to be a part of. It doesn't have to be every weekend or anything, just something that they have that experience and realize that it appears to be not as frightful as it is. There's things like that will probably happen. I know there's been 2 or 3. Mississauga has put one. I saw that last night. I was in Mississauga, and there was some posters about that type of thing. Please join us. Live your life.
Okay, thank you. The other question is for Honorable Mrs. White. Because I just got the information, the Chinese news reporter says there's a case. There's a 60-year-old man, he doesn't have symptoms for 17 days. And so this is the first case, So my question is, in terms of, this kind of the protocol or the measurement in the province level, is there any plan in place that if this kind of thing happen, the current thing maybe just monitor all the thing, monitor the case, say you have 14 days, so there's a period. But if let's say 17 days or maybe 24 days, because we have the professor in China say, okay, but comparing the case maybe longer, maybe as 24 days instead of 14. So I'm wondering, if the province has any plan or something put into place. If this kind of case happen, what the province are going to do?
Yes, I cannot, all I can say is the province is really keeping on top of any changes. This coronavirus is something new to all of us, and we are keeping on top of its development. So yes, we will be keeping on top of it. According at this time, the scientists or the specialists are saying 14 days. But if this person or whoever it is that is still having some sort of things that we have to, that they start still feeling some concerns after 20 days, then we might have to change a lot of things as we go. At this point, none of us have that for sure. But all we're saying is we will keep on top of everything, making sure we'll do our best. And we are not making any assumptions of things at this point. But at least 14 days, we know that will be the safe side. And anybody, if they feel any symptoms, by all means, immediately calling us again, and then we will make sure. And the other thing too is, even the province also encourage people, if you really feel something, don't go to the hospital, don't go to ER. You might be spreading it to more people. Those people are already sick. They are really easily contract anything from us. So just call the help line. Just call the line. I have it with me. I don't have it. Anyway, go onto the website. You have it all. Just call them, and even if you have to call 911, call 911, and then when they come, they will come even masked and really geared up, well equipped before they take you to the hospital. That is ensuring the spreading of the germs is not all over the place. So we are taking all the precautions. We're telling everybody, but it's only so much you can do. If we overdoing it to educate everybody, it will have even more concern and then over-worrying. Right now we're dealing with the over-worrying. Just now, Mayor Barrow has already mentioned that, yes, on Wednesday, we should be doing a press conference to encourage everybody. Just come back out. If you are not sick, if you do not have to quarantine, just come out. Life as usual, business as usual. We are doing a very good incentive for everybody. Continue to enjoy your Valentine's Day. Continue to enjoy your family day and your March break. How? Anybody who spent more than $30 on the business who has suffered from this, we are going to list it on the website. We're going to announce it on at the press conference. For $30 they spent, they will be eligible for a lucky draw. We have 2 airline tickets. We have good red packet. also contributed by our city. So we have, as soon as we share this, a lot of municipalities, the mayors, the councilors say, make sure we are in there. All the banks are in there. Some restaurants who suffered from this, they are in there. So basically, it's us working together as a team to support each other. And those who are quarantining, I will say, I will make sure I send that message back and see that they can help the employer to give them this special leeway. And also, if we need to have somebody to buy food or get the children to school or whatever, let's work together as a team. The neighbors can help each other. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Maybe I'll add 2 cents to your question, to the answer. Richmond Hill really has to rely on the York region for information and for anything we do. So you can go on our website, the Richmond Hill website. We always have the update of the coronavirus. I think we have that since 2 weeks ago. So everything the York region relayed to us, we'll put it on our website to inform our residents. And I have to admit that on behalf of the residents, I understand your concern because you think that better safe than sorry. It's always like that. And we understand our community. We understand our Chinese community. It seems like, the different levels of government, they don't understand what's happening in the Chinese community. And I can understand there's a discrepancy between the residents' expectation of what the government should do and actually what the government is doing. So, and I think this is an important meeting that we all relate our concerns to our representatives so that they can, express our concerns to different levels of government. You want to answer that? Okay.
So also for the York Region School Board, we also have a lot of an update every single day. If we have an update from public health or have an update from any other place, we will always update at the website as well. And then at the urgent situation, we will also send a letter to the family to make sure everyone knows the current situation. So if you don't have the information, don't know where you get the information, you can always contact me. So my, contact information is listed in York Region School Board website. And then you can send me email or you can call me by phone, so I can answer your questions. Okay?
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, my name is Yan. And first of all, thank you very much for coming out today in your spare time to answer to our concerns and questions. We really appreciate your time, and Happy New Year, by the way. So I just want to tell you my feeling, and I think this is also a feeling of most of the Chinese community. We are being, at least myself, I'm being tortured between 2 sides of stories. So when I look at the news in Canada, I see, okay, government keeps on telling us it's low risk. We have only 3 confirmed cases in Ontario. Don't worry. So I said, okay, yeah, I get it. So don't worry, nothing to worry about. But then when I look at the news in Wuhan, in China, the confirmed case, increasing number of confirmed cases, and increasing number of the death toll. And then when I look at the news about the cruise ship, which are being trapped on the sea, with increasing number of confirmed cases. I'm like, I don't know whether they are real. Are they far away? Are they coming to us? So I'm being very tortured between these 2 sides of story. So I'd like to know what's your recommendation on how we should deal with this situation. Because we have volunteers from our community who spend their spare time putting their money to try to help people from China. And they help not only people from Hubei province, but they help everybody from China to try to self-quarantine. So do you think this is overreacting, or is this acting as a reasonable, responsible citizen? But if we are focusing on everybody from China, this is different from your notice from the public health. because you only tell us to stay self-quarantined for the people coming from Hubei province, not from China. So there's a big discrepancy there. So are we overreacting or are we being responsible? And what's your suggestion on maybe we should just disassemble all the volunteer team, just back to normal, don't worry, and let the people self-quarantine based on their self-consciousness?
Well, you always have to be cautious, that is for sure, at any time. And I think it would happen, at the schools itself, not only on this, but some other, whatever a child can get from another child at school passes to the family, and there's always that thing. So you always have to be cautious. I couldn't tell you not to do anything, and I can't tell you to lock yourself in your home either. But I think the point being, and you seem to have a good group of people that is gathering to deal with some of the issues that they're worrisome of. So I think there's always that opportunity from your question. And I often wonder when I see the news and I see the next cruise boat with people there, just where was its origin? Where was the food that came onto the cruise boat? Where was that all coming from? And so I think and I'm only one person, the fact that they must have an ability to determine where it might have started on that ship. And we can't imagine that someone with this came on the ship and not knowing, but I can't say, and this is one of the problems, you can't tell what's happened other than the result of what happened. That's what you know. But always be cautious, and I think you're doing it very well based on on what you're doing here, being here and understanding and dealing with the school board to make sure the school board is doing what it can to keep your kids healthy, and hopefully that we can all keep each other healthy through the process. But I think you have to pay attention. And if you have a group of people that wants to monitor things, by all means, that's something that you can always do and make you feel, so that would allow you to feel better that you're not the only one sitting at home. There are many other people that are with you in the teams that you had with the numbers of questions and things like that. I think it's very important. It is important, and it is scary, no question.
Okay, I have a question. My name is Crystal. I just want to explain to Ms. Barrow and Ms. Daisy why Chinese community, they don't want to go to crowded area. Because what we see from the news in China, actually their experts saying if you go to the crowded area, actually you get a very high chance to get the virus. We totally understand. In Richmond Hill in Canada, the space is very big. It's not that crowded. But when we go to supermarket, like Chinese supermarket, if we go to a very popular restaurant, Chinese restaurant, if we go to the school, those locations actually is you can see the people's density, right? It's the people that's very crowded, yeah. So, other than those locations, I would say people keep very safe distance, far away. So we are not worried about that. So that's why people try to keep safe distance from each other. That's why they don't go to restaurant, popular restaurants. Don't go to the supermarkets. If you go to a grocery store to get twice a week, they might reduce it to once a week, like that. So that's why their business. I know because I've been in those locations those weeks, so I understand. It definitely affects their business. But I think scary, like we fear, is the basic instinct. That's like animal. If we don't know something is going to happen, and we try to avoid it. So my question is, is there any ways that we can help, like Chinese community, to feel safe in those locations, like school, especially like school?
For the school part, currently, like a lot of parents suggest, you see, the student can be able to bring their own, hand washer to the school and sanitize to school. Okay, so these things I already passed the information to the board, and then we do. The student, the parents want the student to carry a small, sanitizing, right? So, okay. So those is allowed. Yeah, this can allow the student can use their own sanitizing to wash their hand very frequently. Yes.
I don't know if you have been to the supermarket. Have you been to Walmart, Shoppers? Like those usually sell the travel size hand sanitizer, because I've been to those stores. I can't find any. If I'm a parent, I want to buy one for my kids, not sharing with others, just for my own kids. But I can't find one. So what can I do?
I think you have to protect yourself and your family.
We do have a plan here. Sorry.
No, I'm just...
We're trying to engage all of the principals. We send email to principal, ask for permission.
Okay, I don't know about the school, sorry.
Yeah, this is a school question, sorry.
Yeah, so
Never mind.
the general big sanitizers we don't provide at school because there are kids who have allergies to it, and it has alcohol in it, so we don't know how, like, we can't monitor the kids all the time. The best practice for kids to be safe is for them to just wash hands with soap and sneeze into their sleeves or into a tissue. Just the regular things that are provided to them. And also remember that this is also cold and flu season. Kids naturally do get sick during this time, and they're spreading their germs everywhere. So just be cautious about things like that. Like, kids will get sick during this time in the normal circumstances, right? So it doesn't mean that they're contracting this virus. However, if your child is sick, please keep them home and make sure that they are fully recovered before you send them back to school. Please don't send your child with a mask, because it gives them a false sense of security, because their hands are still open, they're still scratching their face and their eyes.
Yes, mask, because mask we already discussed with all the parents.
Yes.
Mask is not practical, so we are not talking. We are not discussing about mask. But for the washing hands, when I go to the school, I look at the washroom. The kids always go to the washroom in recess time and the lunch time.
Yeah.
So they don't have space. They're in rush. They cannot wash their hands thoroughly.
So
even though they get a chance to touch the water, they just quickly wash it.
Yeah.
It's not thoroughly.
So this is a good time for parents to actually instill some routines for hand washing. Like, it's a good teaching moment for the parents
There's
as
no
well.
time. Sorry, there's no time. There's no space. It's not even the parents teach the kids how to wash hands. There's no chance for the kids to wash their hands.
So normally when they're in class, it's only when they go for recess, they come back, or if they have to go to the washroom, these are the times that they're touching everything. They need to absolutely wash their hands. If the kids are a little bit older, you could send a travel size sanitizer with them if they know how to use it appropriately, because they'll be doing that on their own.
That's what I would say, just in a very ideal situation. Yes,
Exactly.
you can do that, but in reality, it's not that ideal.
Like regular cold and flu, we cannot really avoid ourselves from getting that, because that just spreads through the school system.
Yeah,
right?
I understand,
Little
but this
children.
coronavirus is not similar, even close to the flu.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying that regular cold and flu, because we are, like David Barr has said and Desiree have said, the chances are very low. So we're trying everything we can to protect ourselves from that.
And whatever humanly possible is also what we could do, right? And we can't do anything more than that. So just allowing your child to protect themselves and be safe, not touching their face all the time is one of the most important things that you could teach your child at this time, not to touch their face.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I talked to several parents when if the kids over like grade 4, like 10 years old, I think the kids will understand. But the age under 10, even though the parents keep talking like every day, I don't think the kids, some kids might, some kids might not.
That's just the reality, right? So younger kids may not get that. However, the schools are telling them more about this because they have seen some kids come in with masks. Kids have a lot of questions about that. Teachers have been talking to them. Teachers have been talking to parents about this as well. And there are plenty of materials out there on the internet. Like if you go to the York Region Public Health website, York Region School Board website, there are FAQs for parents to understand. It has been translated in many different languages so that people could actually understand what it says. And we're at very low risk. The reason why it is, like you said, like you watch the news, the Chinese news channel, and you still have relatives and families back home, so it's very close to you. So you feel that. It's like me coming from a war-torn country, and every time I see war, I remember there's still people out there, right? So I'm very closely connected to that. Just like that, this is happening basically in your backyard, so you're feeling it, and your heightened anxiety is making you very worried. And like Daisy is saying, I would say, like, just take a step back and think about everything that you could do to safeguard yourself, and that's basically what we could really do for a virus, because it's airborne. What can we do?
Sorry, can I just say one more thing? Because when Wuhan first started the coronavirus at the very beginning, the number actually is very, very low.
Of course.
But when they realize the numbers start jumping, everything is too late. That's at least I worry.
And we have been through H1N1, SARS, and MERS, and we are like really equipped to deal with things like this. And as you could see, that we have 3 cases so far, and a very limited number of presumed cases, right? And we have to believe in whatever the government is doing. Like everybody who's coming through the Pearson and ports, they're all being checked. And public health is keeping tabs on them and giving enough information. And people will take, to some extent, some personal responsibility. Like if you are coming from Hubei, you want to quarantine yourself just in case. And just like any other cold and flu symptoms, the stronger you are, your body will fight this. So you have to believe in that, right? So you do have a natural immunity, like you could build up. But the rest of them, you just have to make sure that you're staying healthy and safe.
Yeah, but the kids, I just worry the kids. Their immune system is not as strong as the adults.
Very true. And we understand. At the school board, we understand the anxiety of the parents. What we're trying to do is minimize the anxiety by not giving into that, by letting them wear masks and things like that, so the little kids don't understand the level of anxiety that the parents are feeling, right? So they just panic and they get really scared, and they have no understanding of that. So it's very important that adults and parents are calm and trying to help them through this. It's very important at this time.
So for the big size hand sanitizer, it's just an alcohol allergy problem.
We cannot allow anything that the public health doesn't let us. So at this time, the public health has deemed it not necessary, so we won't provide that at this time. We have to take our cues from public health because everybody have a higher system that they look up to, and we look up to the province for any directions from them.
I just want to say one thing is, trust us, we are a group together. Your concern is just as big as how I see them. That the province also see that as well. it's not just thinking that they just take it lightly. We are really on top of it, but we also care. And I am glad because I'm a Chinese and I can understand your concern very well, and I can reflect, and I did voice it out to the minister as well, and they understand it. They reassure us that don't get panicked because it's not helpful, but at the same time knowing that they care, they are really on top of it, just like your concerns are. So just trust it with them and just relax. Maybe that is making things better that way. That's all I can say. But we really, it's not just you have the concern and we just hold our hands and not worry about it. We really work on it together with you. We are in it together. Thanks.
Most of those kids come back recently traveled to China or Wuhan, right? So because we all know the public health already adopted this kind of new policy. So what's the border policy?
Yes, so whatever the public health is implementing, we would automatically adopt that. So whatever the public health is saying will be our policy as well. However, as you can see, as a school board, one of the things that mandate us is the Education Act, and we cannot do anything that's different from that. So we cannot exclude a child when the child is not sick just because they're coming from somewhere. So now that the York Region Public Health has said that Hubei Province tried, like they're saying should, which means that you kind of do it on your own to quarantine yourself. And if we know that a child has come from there, we would definitely have a conversation with the parents to educate them on the information that's available for them.
So I'm still a bit confused. So is it required? It's like all they have the body is just recommending. So for example, if a kid just came back from Hubei or Wuhan, so is he still in here?
So from my understanding is nobody is coming or going into Wuhan at this moment, right? So that's why they're only talking about Hubei, because that's the port that's open for people to come through. So nobody could, the planes that took the passengers, they came from Wuhan from special permission. That's why they're quarantined right away, right? Hubei, yeah. So again, it's up to the people who are coming to quarantine themselves, because it's suggested, it's saying you should, it's not saying you must, right? So because it's saying that there's no mechanism for us to enforce anything like that. We cannot force somebody to do that. It'll be against their human rights to come and participate in education. So we cannot do that. However, we will be strongly advising them, the parents, to suggest that they do that, because now it's recommended they do that.